Hello, my stamping friends. Thank you for joining me today. I have been showing you over the past couple weeks anyway, some of the designer series paper that's on sale this month. Just a reminder that this sale ends on Monday, August 2nd. This again is the flyer with the papers on it. You can see more detailed papers if you go to my website, www.lindasolomon.stampinup.net, and click on the shop button, and you'll be able to see bigger photos of the actual paper that is on sale. And it is 15% off, and as I said, until August 2nd. And then on August 3rd, we will start the new holiday mini catalog and celebration. Whoops. Sorry about that. So this is the new catalog. So next week I'll probably start showing a couple things from this catalog to whet your appetite. But today I'm going to do Bloom Where You Are Planted. It is a suite found on page 81 in the catalog. And I wish I could make this smaller for you, but these are the colors that the paper includes. The Cajun Craze, Cinnamon Cider, Just Jade, Garden Green, Evening Evergreen, and Gray Granite. And it comes with this coordinating, or it comes with, if you want to buy the suite, the stamp set and dies. The stamp set is Plentiful Plants. Has all these great images, thank yous, and love you, some great sayings in here. And it has some corresponding dies. I should have taken the paper off of these. Sorry about that. So these are some of the dies that cut out the stamps, as well as some of the paper. Now the paper is, I've cut down smaller sizes so that it's easier for me to show you on the screen. We have this paper, which comes in a 12 by 12. All of it's in 12 by 12 actually. And you've got this design on the top and the bottom of the paper. And so you cut it in half, six inches, and you can make 6 cards out of it, or you can also cut it a little bit smaller, have some weight things. So this is a 6-inch thing, so obviously it's bigger than a card front, so I would have to trim some of this off, or some of the white, to put on a card. I have a sample I'll show you later that I use that on. So this is one of the designs. This is the design on the back, which is just kind of a faux painted paper with the gray granite and white. I have the bricks background paper. It's got this on the back side of it, which is really pretty. This is the Evening Evergreen and Garden Green are the colors in that paper. Then it has 12 by 12 of this paper. And what I've done in a lot of cases is I've actually just hand cut out some of these things to use on cards, which is really great. And on the back you have a wood panel in a light cinnamon cider type color. So you've got that, which is very versatile. I love the wood grain. Then you have this paper right here, and I will tell you from the dies, you can cut out a couple of the images. Actually, almost all the images. And then we've got this one right here. So as you can see, it does every image except for this one, which has the handles on it, but you could also cut the handles off if you wanted to hand cut that one. So you have versatility with your dies for cutting those out and using them on cards. Here's the back, which is a nice leafy pattern. Then you have this paper right here, which again, we have dies to coordinate and cut it out. No, not that one, this one. Got that one right there. We've got this one right here, which does this leaf. And then we have one more, which is right here, which does this one right here. So that'll cut out those images, and then I've hand cut out some of these images to be put with the pots, like the succulent there, and so you've got that on one side. Then you have the wood grain on the back, which is, like I said, very versatile. I love the wood ones. And then this is one of the final pattern, which is the bricks in the gray granite, and it has this beautiful leaf pattern on the back. And just jade and garden green and evening evergreen are the primary colors on that. So that's the designer series paper that we're going to work with today. We're going to make this card right here, only I'm going to do a different version of it so you can see another way that I've done it to play with. So we'll put that off to the side. And we're also using our stitch rectangle dies. So we've got our stitch rectangle dies, and we're going to use the largest rectangle, the fifth one in from the outside, or the fourth one in from the outside, and we're going to piece those together. So let me bring in my big shot here, or my stamp and emboss thing. Now I'm going to tell you a hint with the way I'm using taping these down so that they don't slide, because otherwise you'll have a crooked insert in your frame. So I've got the two together. I have them down. One of the hints that I want to tell you is when you're running it through an embossing machine or die cutting machine, you're going to have to put it on an angle. You don't want to have it going through straight like this, because you'll hear all kinds of noises, and it's just not a great way to cut. So you want to go on an angle so it hits a point or a smaller area first. So I have this one all lined up, and I'm going to put it right through here. And these are stitched, so you also have the stitching on them as well. And again, we're using the brick. Oops, let's move that out of the way. Brick piece right here. We'll take our pieces of tape off of it. Now, this is a good example of paying attention when you're cutting to the direction of the designer paper. I knew I wanted to use this design right here with the macrame. And save this piece in here because we'll use that to make another card eventually. And there we have our frame. And like I said, you want your bricks going this way. It's going to be kind of hard to turn your paper this way because your bricks will be going the wrong way. And I originally wanted to do this one because if you'll notice on the back, this is that paper. I originally wanted to do this one using the bricks, but I had cut it so that it was this way. So the bricks were this way. And that was a bad mistake. So for this one I paid attention and cut the paper the right way. But I actually love this dark green background. I think it's really, really, really neat. Also for this card, we're going to use some cinnamon cider as our card. And I'm going to put a white background right here, like this. And it's not going to be even because the dies do not cut so that we have 1/4 inch or 1/8 inch sizes to meet up with our 4 1/4 by 5.5 paper. So it's not going to be perfectly lined up, but for something like this, it's not going to matter too much. Now, I've had a couple of questions or a couple of ideas with whether I want to put leave this white background back here or if I want to put this paper behind it. And again, that's the designer paper. I have in my head, my mother always said, don't put brown and gray together. And that's kind of what we're doing here, since it's gray granite and cinnamon cider, which is a brown. So I may try it actually leaving the white, but I've cut out, just out of cinnamon cider paper, a pot, and I have the macrame in white. So all we need to do now is the leaves. So I'm just going to get a piece of paper here. We're going to take some Evening Evergreen, and we're going to take this larger image, and this is kind of a distinctive set, because you're not going to get a real solid image. And I'm sorry, I'm too far down on my paper here. So if you look, you're going to have kind of a distinctive thing to it. It's not supposed to be a solid image. And I shook it. Look at that. That's terrible stamping. Probably when I moved it. Tried to move it. That's better. A little bit lighter, but that's okay. Light is good. And then I'm going to see how this is. I didn't do this one before, but let's just try this and see if this design works. I'm going to take this set of three leaves. Oh dear. I guess it fits on there. We'll do this in garden green. Let's do a second one, just in case when I cut it, I do it wrong. All right, so we've got some garden green and some Evening Evergreen. And we need to pull in our dies from the set. If I can pick it up here. So we'll take this one here. I think I like this image better. And I'm going to tape that down like this. I'll take another piece of paper here just so it doesn't shift while I try and carry it over to the embossing machine. Then we're going to take this one, and I can't use that image because it's crooked. So we'll put this one on here. And then I'm going to cut these out. And bring them back over for you. And that'll be the flowers. I guess we should call them ferns, because they're really kind of like ferns. So we've got our Evening Evergreen one, and oh my goodness, I lined that one up pretty good. Let's see how I did with this one. Yep, that's pretty good too. Awesome. Now I'm going to put one behind the other, because I think it kind of gives us a two-toned look for our plant. So then we'll just put those together. I like this spot to go down to the end here. And I just love the way this makes such pretty plants. If we wanted to, we could also use this. The set also has this kind of succulent, which you could put in the pot. I have, like I said, cut out some of the other pots, so you could also put this kind of pot in there if you wanted to do with your flowers. Put these behind it, so you could have kind of a different look there. Actually, that might not be a bad idea, to kind of pull in the gray paper. It's not a bad idea. This is one that I actually used the die and cut out of the Designer Series paper. There's also, in addition to the macrame, there's another one of these dies that you can use. And this one is good for using, like you have a round bottom thing, so you can put that in there like that, and you can have a plant. But I think I think I'm actually going to use that one on the paper. And a couple of other images that are in the dies as well is there's a smaller pot here and a smaller one here, and these go good with this little fern that you can die cut as well. And you can also use, I think you can use them with this right here. With that, or here this has been hand cut out of the paper. It looks like it's a little big for that one, but maybe this one would fit kind of cool. So a couple different options, or lots of different options. I've had kind of fun playing with this one, but I think we're going to try this pot just to use a little different, and then we'll use this gray. So I've cut this to be, oh, I was going to write it down and I didn't write it down. Let's just pull the ruler out here. So it's basically 3 inches by 4 1/4. Because I don't want to take up a whole sheet of it, because it's only going to go behind the base here. So I'm going to try and center it on here. And again, I'll use the green glue. I never used to like the green glue, but I'm really kind of liking it now. We'll kind of center that on there. That means that I'll get our, we'll be able to get our frame on there pretty centered. Now, there's a couple different options here. You can put this flat on here, or you can bump it up. And I'm going to bump it up. There's a couple different ways you can bump it up too. You can use these strips here, which is what I used on the other ones. Or you can also use, oh, that's the wrong thing here. What did I do with it? Here it is. You can also use these sheets of, what do they call these? Drawing a blank here. What is wrong with me? Adhesive sheets. Basically adhesive sheet. They're double-sided. But this would involve, you know, cutting it up and using a lot. So I'm just going to stick with this. And so, like I said, we could also use this on there as well. I'd probably change the background paper in that one, but I'm going to just take my strips off here. And put these along here. Pull off another strip. Let me close this for now, so I don't put my hand in it. That's a bummer to ruin your project. So I'm going to take this on here, my scissors, another one on this side, or you could use your dimensionals. That also works. I find it's a little easier using these strips though, so I'm going to cut off one here. Put this down here. Not even, but that's okay. So then we're just going to take our strips off. Just like that. And then we're going to, now I'm going above, standing above so that I can eye this much better. Also, it helps me look at the camera. Look at that, I did get ink on my finger. It's called Close Your Ink Pads, Linda. And then we can put this on our card base. Actually, probably could have put it on better, easier if I'd done it first, but. And again, this isn't going to line up exactly. I have my background white to match up with the frame versus the actual card. So you'll see that you've got a little bit here and a little bit more on the sides. But I think it looks great anyway because your focus is actually on here. So since we're using these different ones, I'm I'm going to put this one perhaps here. And I think I'm going to kind of stick that one on. I'm going to use some glue dots because it'll be easier for me to put a glue dot on it and then line it up. I think I might want it first. And I want to be able to see as much of the other leaves as we can. And then I'm going to use dimensionals, and I'm going to find my little baby dimensionals. Well, actually, I think I can probably even use the big ones. Let's see. Yeah, that fits on there. And since I'm overlapping, it definitely fits on there. I took that one off already. Let's see, this one, this one. And by kind of lining this up, I'm going to put my, let's see how that looks with the pot there. I think just about there goes well. And then I'm going to put a little bit of glue on this to put it onto the pot. And I should use my glue pen, but I think if I'm gentle, maybe I can get just a little bit out. Oh fudge, let's just use the glue pen. Trying not to make a mess, and I'll probably end up making a mess. Now we want this. Come on, there we go. Now we know it's not going to go all the way down on the pot, so, because this pot kind of lends itself to being a little higher up in the there we go. Make sure I put my top on so I don't dry out. There we go. Got that, and then I'm going to pop this up too, so I'm going to put some dimensionals on there. Probably should put some little, I'm going to put some little ones on there too. Up. Not quite dry. I think I'm going to put this, oops. I'm going to put this one right here in that little hole and see if it doesn't ruin the whole image here. And we'll put this up here like this. I'm going to have to come back on with this and hope it holds. Clean up some of the extra glue. I think that should be good. We'll let it dry. Note to self, don't rush. And then we need a little bit of a greeting. And the Stitch Rectangle set also has, a little strip right here. Now what I did is I went ahead and I cut a bunch of those strips. Let's see what I can do with them. Put them in here. No. Well, yeah, here they are. I put them in a safe spot. So here's one that I did in. It's got a little bit of glue on it. I'm going to have to take care of. And I will do, I think I'm going to do this in Evening Evergreen instead of the Garden Green though. And the set also has the same that says, "To a dear friend." And so I'll put that down here just like this. Yeah, because it's photopolymer. Hopefully I have it somewhat centered. Somewhat. And this, like I said last time I used it in the evergreen, the pad is a little bit wet. Let's see if I can do this gently using the paper. And hopefully it didn't smudge. If it did, I'll just have to do another one. Oops. Do there. See if I can get my fingernails going here. And here we go. Isn't that perfect? Fits on there perfectly as well. Just have to move it down a little bit because it's a little crooked. And there you have it. Using the Bloom Where You're Planted set suite. So I hope you liked this card. Let me show you a couple other ones I did making these fun frames before I sign off. First, let me show you, this one is one I did also using, these were cut out from the paper. This one was stamped in cinnamon cider, I believe, and then I tied a little string around there and used, this is actually the other side of that gray paper, just to show you how that uses. But then I went back to my peaches and did a frame, which I love. And I haven't done these in white yet, but what I would do is I would use my Stitch So Sweetly dies and probably put my saying there, either a thank you or a happy birthday. But this is very vanilla, not going to go. Not going to match, so let's have to do another one. Then I've got the In the Wild set using the In the Wild Designer Series paper, which is also on sale. And I hand cut out one of these cheetahs. And if you look at the paper, some of the cheetahs are off center, so it's a perfect place to use a cheetah like that isn't a hole, so you don't have the whole sheet. And then I had this one here using a tiger, and some of the leaves I hand cut out of this paper. So that was a little more challenging, but I did want to add something else to it. And then I had one final one, because if anybody can tell, I really like tigers. And then this one is my favorite one, where I hand cut out the tigers on here and some of the leaves. And this one I did not pop up the frame, so this one is flat against it, but I did pop up the tiger, so I gave it some dimension anyway. And the rest of these are all popped up. So I hope you enjoyed seeing those. I'll look forward to sharing another video with you soon. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.